Hello dear students. In the previous class, we were discussing about the fundamentals of nomenclature of organic compounds. So we have discussed about what is the root word, what is the prefix and what is the suffix. So today I want you to do a small classwork which is identify the root word, suffix and prefix in the following compounds. The compound is given. So in the first compound, prop is the root word, enol is the suffix. It's not the first one, it is the second one. And if you take the first one, but is the root word, en is the suffix and it does not have a functional group, so there is no secondary suffix. Chloro is the prefix in this compound. I want you to do one more assignment, that is, I have given two sets of compounds over here. You need to write down the name for these sets of compounds. So I have already given the name of these compounds. So first compound, if you take, you could see its name is but2ene, and the second one, its name is but1ene. So the question is, do they represent the same molecule? Is these two molecules are same, identical? No, it's not identical. You could see that in the molecule, the double bond is between the second and third carbon atom, whereas in case of second molecule, the double bond is between first and second carbon atom. You must have learned about this. This is what we call isomerism. So how do we represent the compounds if they are different isomers? So there should be some strategy of counting the number of the carbon atoms number which is involved in double bonding. And the next molecule, if you could see, it is 1-chloropropane, first one, and the second one is 2-chloropropane. So the same way, do they represent the same molecule? No, they don't represent the same molecule, because in first molecule, the chlorine is attached to the terminal carbon atom, whereas in the second molecule, the chlorine is attached to the middle carbon atom. So you have already learned a set of rules. The question is, are the rules you have studied is it sufficient to name these compounds? Do you need some more rules to be learned so that you can perfectly name the isomers of the organic compounds? So we are focusing on these rules hereafter. So there are many rules that will help you out to name various organic compounds. Rule number 1. It could be named as longest chain rule. So you could see a carbon skeleton and you could see the structure. So in the previous examples, you have seen the chlorine atoms are numbered. Not the chlorine atom, the carbon atom on which the chlorine atom is attached is numbered. So how do we number the carbon atom? So if you wanted to assign a number for the carbon atom, you must be counting the carbon atom of the carbon chain in a particular way. In which particular way you have to count the carbon atoms in a carbon chain. So that's what we are looking into. So here you have different ways of numbering this carbon. See that. This is one way, it's wrong. You have one more way, this is correct. So why it is correct? You have to select the longest possible continuous carbon chain as the parent chain. Then only it will be correct. If you take the first method, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 5 carbon atoms. If you take the second method, you have 6 carbon atoms. So 5 or 6, which is bigger? 6 is bigger. So you have to select the longest possible continuous carbon chain. As if you take this example, this is about the rule number 2, general rule for naming organic compounds, rule number 2. If you take this carbon skeleton, if you number it, please write it down in the notebook. If you number it, you have 2 longest possible carbon chain, and both the chains are having 6 carbon atoms present. So it will be coming like this. This is one way. The other one is like this. This is another way. So which one you have to select? So the answer is this. If 2 chains are of equal length, one with the larger number of the side chain is selected. So you could see that the correct method is having 2 side chains, whereas if you take the wrong one, that is the first numbered method, it has got 6 carbon atom, but only one substituent is present on that. Whereas if you take the second method, you have 2 substituent attached to the longest possible carbon chain. So the rule number 2 is, if 2 chains are of equal length, the one with the larger number of side chains is selected. So hope you got it. So next we will switch over to the rule number 3 as the general rules for naming organic compounds is what we call lowest number rule. Lowest number rule comes into picture when there is a substituent. So there is a carbon chain. So if you number it like that, it is wrong, because there is a substituent that is represented by a single carbon atom. That single carbon atom means it is a substituent. This is what I meant. So this carbon atom is what I meant. So it can have number 4, means the carbon atom which is attached to the substituent can have 2 possible numbers. One is number 4, the other one is number 3. Which one must be accepted? So according to this rule, you have to accept 3 as the number for that carbon atom. It has got a particular term, that is locant. Locant means the number of the carbon atom on which the substituent is attached. So here this carbon atom represents the substituent and it is attached to this carbon atom. So whatever be the number it is assigned to this carbon atom is what we call locant. So here the locant number is 3, not 4. As per this rule, lowest number should be given to the carbon atom attached to the substituent. So this is what we call lowest number rule. It also called lowest locant number rule. Locant means number is included. So please understand, if there is a substituent on the longest possible chain, the carbon atom where the substituent is attached must have the lowest possible number. That is what rule number 3. Next is, if there is more than one substituent on the longest possible carbon chain, then How do you number it? From which side you will number the longest possible chain carbon atoms? Means the carbon atoms present in the longest possible chain. So here you could see a carbon skeleton over here, and the upper side there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carbon atoms, and on that carbon chain where 6 carbon atoms are present, 3 substituents are there. So these carbon atoms you can number either from left hand side or from the right hand side. So which one is correct? Let's see that. So I have numbered in 2 different ways. One is from left hand side, the other one is from right hand side. Right hand side you could see what you have to do. You have to count the locants. So here 3 plus 4 plus 5, so it is 12. If you take numbering from this end to this end, so here the locant numbers are 2 plus 3 plus 4. So 2 plus 3 5, 5 plus 4 it is 9. So which method will be accepted? This rule is what we call lowest sum rule. Lowest sum rule means that number the carbon chain from the side. Number the carbon chain from the side such that the sum of the numbers given to the substituents should be minimum. So if you number from right to left, then the locant numbers are 3, 4 and 5. So it will be the sum of that numbers is equal to 12. Whereas if you number from left to right, that is 2 plus 3 plus 4, that is equal to 9. So according to this rule, rule number 4, number the carbon chain from the side such that the sum of the numbers given to the substituents should be minimum. So why the upper one is correct? Hope you have understood. Next, this is the little elaboration of the 4th rule. So next, let us say you have something more to learn from these examples. So rule number 5. So I have given a compound. So what you have to do, you have to name this compound. So when you are naming this compound, your first task is you need to find out the main chain which contain longest continuous carbon chain. So you have to select the longest continuous carbon chain. So you have 2 options over here. Like options means you have only one option, longest continuous carbon chain. But numbering the carbon chain, you have 2 options, either from left hand side or from right hand side. Right hand side means from this side. See here, this is one way. So its name will be 3,5-dimethylhexane, but it is wrong. Let's see what is the right one. 2,4-dimethylhexane. 2,4-dimethylhexane is the correct one. See the locants actually. So if you take the first one, it is 3 plus 5, so it is 8. If you take the second method, that is 2,4-dimethylhexane, it is 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. So this is just the elaboration of the rule number 4. But you have learned one thing from this example, that is addition of prefixes di, tri or tetra, etc. is possible for identical substituents. See here, you could see that there are 2 substituents in this molecule. This is one substituent and this is another substituent. If you notice it, you could see that both the substituent is nothing but methyl group. So what you can do, you can add the term dimethyl. See, this di is bolded. I am giving you one more example. So this is the example. I have numbered in a particular way. So here second carbon atom is having one methyl group. Third carbon atom is having two methyl group. One is directing upside and the other one is directing downside. So if you have numbered properly, the name of the compound is supposed to be 2, so please understand, if there is the repetition of a substituent, you have to put the same locant or the same number representing the carbon atom, but it has to be separated by comma. So you could see 2, 3, 3. So there are 3 substituents, trimethyl butane. Unfortunately, the method we use to number the carbon atoms of the longest possible continuous carbon chain is wrong, so that this name also wrong. Let us see what is the correct name. See, please observe. This is what the correct name. So the correct name is 2, 3, 3. There is a hyphen also that separates between the locant number and the alphabets of the nomenclature. 2, 3, 3 hyphen trimethyl butane. This is wrong. The correct name is 2, 2. The reason is 2 plus 3 plus 3 is equal to 8. Whereas if you add 2 plus 2 plus 3, it is equal to 7. So the upper one is correct. So the correct name is 2, 2, 3 trimethyl butane. That is the correct name. So you have got 2 morals from this slide. One is, you can add prefixes like di, tri, etc. for identical substituents. If the identical substituents comes on the same position, on the same carbon atom, then you have to put the same number. That is the second moral from this slide you have learned. So you are understanding, hope you are getting all these points. So next, so we have already learned 5 rules. This is 6th rule. So chemistry, I don't know whether you have noticed or not. Chemistry has got a particular speciality. That is, chemistry is the subject of exceptions. Why chemistry is important? It is because chemistry has got a lot of exceptions. So here we are going to discuss about a particular exception. We were discussing about longest chain rule, means you have to select a carbon main chain which contain maximum number of carbon atom. That's what our idea till now. So you are going to take a small deviation from that. Please look into this molecule. You have to write down the structure of this molecule in your notebook. And I have numbered the carbon atom of this molecule. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 carbon atoms are there. So in whichever be the way you count, this is what the carbon chain you get, where more number of carbon atoms are present. In reality, you have not chosen the correct carbon chain to represent the root word of this compound. Please look into that. This is wrong, and the right one is this one. Why this is the right one? When you are naming the compound, in nomenclature there is a priority. That is, when you are taking the main chain as the root word, if there is a functional group, functional group must be there in the main chain, and the priority is like this. functional group will have the highest priority, then the priority is for double bond, then the priority is for triple bond, then the priority is for substituents. Rest is about common sense. So please understand, if there is a functional group, you have to select a main chain which contain the carbon atom attached to the functional group. Please understand. Or if the functional group itself is having a carbon atom, then you have to understand that carbon atom must be the part of the main chain. And if it is like this, there is a double bond, and the double bond will be counted like this only. This is how you can take the main chain, so that the double bond will be the part of main chain. So here you can't count this longest carbon chain which contains 6 carbon atom, because that longest carbon chain does not contain the double bond. So the correct one is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you will have 4 carbon atoms in the longest main chain. The reason is, when you select the longest possible chain, it has got 6 carbon atom, but the prioritized group double bond is not the part of the main chain. So you have to take a different chain which include the double bonded carbon atom. So that's why the first one is wrong and second one is right. Hope you are understanding. So if at all you come across a situation, there is a double bond and there is a functional group, and when you take a main chain, it can either contain the functional group or the double bond. Then what will you do? You have to select the main chain which contain the functional group. You can forget about the double bond. Please understand. So it's all about the priority. So please understand. So it violates the longest chain rule. So what is the name of this compound? So if there is a double bond or triple bond, then double bond or triple bond must be included in the main chain in spite of violating the longest chain rule and assigned to the lowest number. So please understand, the double bond or the triple bond will be identified by the primary suffix, and the functional group will be identified by the secondary suffix. So you please understand, if you are not selecting a main chain which does not contain double bond or which does contain double bond or the functional group, so what will happen? This double bond or the functional group will be excluded from the compound, name of the compound. That's why this is very important. When you select a longest continuous possible chain, the all possible you have to try. If there is no option to include the double bond, functional group, everything, then at least the most prioritized functional group must be there as the part of the main chain. What is the name of this compound? So there are 4 carbon atoms. So but 1-ene, there is no functional group. So you can put but 1-ene, and there are 2 substituent. One is in second carbon atom, the other one is in third carbon atom. So second carbon atom, it is ethyl. Third carbon atom, it is methyl. So what you need to do, you have to prioritize according to alphabetical order. It's not the lock end that is important. Alphabetical order is important. Even if the second position is having methyl group, you have to put it as 3 ethyl, 2 methyl, but here in the question it is like this. So 2 ethyl, 2 ethyl, 3-methyl but1-ene. That's how it has to be named. 7th rule, I have given a carbon skeleton. So this is about from which side. So if you take the method, so the longest possible carbon chain is this. So what you need to do, you have to write down this structure in your notebook. So you have to try to write down the name for this compound. So when you are going to name this compound, you have to select a main chain. So the main chain you could easily select, which contain the functional group, the carbon atom attached to the functional group must be there in the main chain. And how do you number the carbon atom of the main chain? That's what we are discussing about. See, you please observe. So this is one way, it's actually wrong. So what is the correct way? The correct way is like this. This is correct because the functional group should get the lowest possible. The reason is the functional group should get the lowest possible number. So if you take the first method, the carbon where the OH group is attached will have 5 as the locand number. But if you take the second method, the carbon atom where the OH group is attached will have locand number as 2. So this is the correct method. As the 8th rule, I wanted to add, in the previous class I have asked you to write down all the functional group by mentioning the term used as its prefix, the term used as its suffix all. There I have told you to write down all the functional group according to their priority order given by IUPAC. So as rule number 8, I wanted to give the order of preferences for the polyfunctional compounds. So I have well explained in the previous class that if there is more than one functional group, how do you name the compound? So you have to select one among the functional group which has the highest priority according to this order, that will be treated as the functional group and the rest will be treated as the substituent. That's how we have learned in the previous class. So please understand, carboxylic acid will have highest priority, then ester, then acid chloride, then amide, then nitrile group, then aldehyde, then ketone. So after aldehyde only ketone comes, then alcohol, then amine, then alkene, then alkyne, then ether, ROR. Actually after this amine, which will not be coming as the secondary suffix, alkene or alkyne will be coming as primary suffix. Then what will be coming into picture? It is the substituent. I have told you there are few more substituent, that is ether, then halogens, then nitro. These three will be treated as a substituent, even though they have some role in determination of the chemical property of the compound. These people are standing in front of IUPAC office in order to get identified as the functional group. But still, even today, these three groups are considered as the substituents only. So up to here only what comes? The functional group comes. Rest it's actually functional group, but according to nomenclature, these two along with alkane is identified as primary suffix, and these are identified these are identified as substituents. So you have 12 questions as in class work. So you need to write it down in an A4 sheet paper. You have to take a photo of that and upload the answer into the same Google Classroom. So these are the questions. So 3 questions over and another 9 questions. Hope you understood. Thank you for listening to me.